So you're in there. So you're working with Project Veritas. So what was it like working for James OKeefe versus Alex Jones? They're both extremely creative, brilliant, and they're very good marketers. The way they get things done, brilliant. But what was it like working with James versus Alex?
So I wasn't formally employed by Infowars and Alex Jones. I was more of a contributor, like in the field contributor. And back in the day, before the bankruptcy and before the Sandy Hook lawsuit and before all the censorship, like before they completely got shut down everywhere, Infowars used to do a lot of contests, and they used to build up a lot of independent journalists. And so if you had videos, you could submit it to them, and they would actually pay you for your content. And so that's what I would do, because when I left Project Veritas, I started my own media company, and that's how I was able to survive, really, is I would do content, and then I would submit it to Infowars, and then Infowars would pay me for my content, and then they would air it. And that's how I was able to support myself when I went independent, when I was trying to figure everything out. James, he's an amazing person. He's like a brother to me. He's extremely creative, extremely intelligent. He really taught me the basics about intel gathering and how to develop a cover and how to protect a source and the importance of protecting a source. And obviously I learned all this stuff when I was studying journalism in college, but it's completely different when you're in the field. And I mean, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And I was there from the beginning, right? Before all the scandals and, the attempted coup to push him out of his own company. And so I know the things that they say about James OKeefe are not true, right? Because he's one of the best people I know. And look, I don't know how it is for you, because obviously you work in business and you venture into politics with your podcast. But if you work in politics, you don't really have a lot of friends, honestly. People are very fake, and people will sell you under the bus or down the river to make a buck. I mean, there's no loyalty in this industry. And I've met a lot of people. I've met everybody, really, just like you've probably met everyone. I could tell you stories about everyone. And I'd say that out of all the people I've met and all the people who I considered a friend or an ally or, an acquaintance, James OKeefe is the one person that has truly been my friend. I mean, he really, honestly.
Out of everybody.
Out of everybody.
We've had James on 3 times.
He's like the most loyal person I know.
Really?
The most loyal.
Okay, so when you're saying intel gathering, okay, you went to school, you learned it from school and from James. What are some methods of intel gathering?
Well, I used to do a lot of undercover work. I don't do undercover work so much anymore. But like I said, when I was undercover, I had to develop a cover. Like I said before, I'm originally a blonde. So I had my blonde hair.
It's tough for you to recover now.
It's hard to recover, yeah, because, eventually I had long blonde hair, and then I had to cut it off, because if you get burned, eventually you get burned when your stories come out. Because when your stories come out, eventually the subjects are going to realize that you were recording them. So in order to continue going undercover throughout the election season, I had long blonde hair. I had to chop my blonde hair off and then have short hair. Then I dyed it brown. Then I dyed it black. And then, it's very hard to go back after you dye your hair black to bleach blonde hair like I used to have. So dyeing your hair, developing a different cover, using disguises, of course, but also just having a believable alias. You have to be in it for the long term. There's long-term operations, and then there's what we used to call the smash and grabs operations. Those, of course, were, you go to an event and you meet somebody, you're at a bar, they're drinking, they're drunk, you're probing them for information, and then they give you a soundbite or something that's pretty damning. They used to call me the queen of the smash and grabs at Project Veritas, because I was the best at getting into all the events that were kind of impossible to get into, or getting to the front of the line, and then getting these people on camera very quick, right? A smash and grab is when you go in, you have an assignment, you get your target, and you're out of there, and that's that. There's no long-term relationship building, no long-term, image development, anything like that. But for the more long-term operations, you have to be very patient. You have to be willing to sometimes be embedded for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. I mean, the longest I was ever embedded was an entire year for one operation. And you also have to not be spooked easily, because you can imagine the idea of wearing a hidden camera is it sounds a lot easier than it actually is. And there were a lot of people who were interviewed by Project Veritas to work for James OKeefe who ultimately failed the test because they had such severe anxiety when they put a hidden camera on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So some people, when they put it on, they get nervous, and you can
Yeah,
tell
I mean,
they got
a lot
it
of people quit because they thought, oh, I want to work for James O'Keefe. I want to go undercover. I want to do undercover journalism, but they couldn't handle wearing a hidden camera.
What is the profile? When you're hiring people like that, what are you looking for? What qualities are you looking for?
Well, people who are trustworthy, people who are tenacious, people who are good on their feet.
Same thing.
When I worked at Veritas, they didn't have background checks. Now they have a very, detailed process. And of course, James is in the process of trying to get Project Veritas back. So it's now OMG, O'Keefe Media Group. But towards the end of my time at Veritas, the background check process became very intense. I mean, they actually contracted and hired out like former CIA officials, former FBI officials, former foreign intel officers to come in and assist with training. We did a training exercise at Eric Prince's ranch, I believe out in Wyoming,
He's
if
qualified.
I recall. Yeah,
he's fully qualified. Did you guys ever have anybody?
We did actual intel and at one point firearms training as well. And so when I first started at Project Veritas, though, that didn't exist. It was after the presidential election when, Veritas became a household name and they received a really big cash infusion because we published the October surprise that really, even CNN said, helped lead to President Trump's victory.
This is which one? This is the laptop?
This is the Democracy Partners. This was in 2016. The Democracy Partners expose, where we did a long-term undercover operation of a guy named Scott Fovel and Bob Creamer, this group called Democracy Partners, and caught them on camera talking about how they were essentially going to facilitate a voter fraud scheme to help Hillary Clinton get elected as president, and also caught them on camera admitting how they paid agitators to show up to Trump rallies to instigate violence in something that they called bird dogging, so that they could try to create political violence at Trump rallies to create a false image that Trump supporters were violent. So we got them all on camera admitting this. It was a massive story. See, Sting Video purports to show Democrats. Yeah. Big expose. I mean, even CNN was forced to cover it. And ultimately, it was a massive blow to Hillary's campaign.
This
in October.
This and Comey. Those two were not good for her.
In 2016,
but did you guys ever hire people that they came in and they try to infiltrate, Project Veritas to learn about what was going on the inside?
No, because the vetting process was so strict at Project Veritas that never would have been able to happen.
Even at the beginning?
Yeah.
Got it. Because you're saying later on you got some CIA people to train, but maybe in the beginning somebody would try to get in there.
Yeah, because they still did basic level background checks, but it wasn't anything as intense as, we, at one point in time, they were making people do polygraph tests and be interviewed by the people who were out of Washington, D.C. I remember they actually flew all of the potential hires and people that passed the first and second round of the vetting process at Project Veritas to Washington, D.C. to sit down for an interview with the people that did the polygraph tests on the 9/11 conspirators.
Wow.
So these are people who have interviewed actual convicted terrorists, really bad guys, right? And that's the level of vetting that Project Veritas did towards the end when I, finished working there. They hired actual operatives, people that worked with the FBI, the CIA.
Very impressive.
Foreign intel. Yeah, foreign intel.
The catalog of, the stuff that's been done is very impressive.
It's not like I'm some armchair investigative journalist. Oh, here I am investigating online, finding receipts. I have had actual formal training, right?
Well,
formal training.
The more and more people mock you and the more and more you keep showing up and stories happen, gradually it's kind of like, well, maybe this girl actually is getting real intel and she's getting information.
Hey everybody, Laura Loomer here. I'm so excited to finally announce that I've joined Minect. So please be sure that you connect with me on Minect. I can't wait to chat with you, whether it be about politics, investigative journalism, or if you just want to talk to me about your furry friends and how you too can get involved in my passion of animal rescue. Whatever it is, I can't wait for you to connect with me on Minect. So be sure that you contact me today.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.